Hello everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on my video and sitting down and giving me a few minutes of your time. I am going to do a journal review and flip through for you today. I just finished a few days ago my B6 Wonderland 222 with Tomo River paper, and I wanted to do a flip through and tell you my thoughts about it and show you and just give you a flip through, because I know a lot of people enjoy these. So this was gifted to me by my anonymous benefactor, and I had never heard of Wonderland 222 before she sent me the Wonderland 222 notebooks. She sent me an A6 size, which I've already done a review and flipped through for, this B6 size, and two A5s, one of which I had chopped down to standard size and I have put inside my Olive Traveler's notebook. And as soon as I'm done with my current journal that I'm in, I'm going to jump into that and see how I feel about journaling in a standard size. And then I still have another A5 as well. Oh, spoilers. I enjoyed every single page of this notebook. And the reason why it's taken me so long to do a flip through of it is because I started this notebook on April 1st, and it lasted me all the way to May 24th. And when I originally wrote this out, it was before we moved here, and so I didn't have my finished journals, completed journals out, so I had no idea what I left off on. After pulling out all my journals and organizing them and putting them up on my shelf, I realized that this journal right here is number 57. I have journaled and completed 57 journals. So that is pretty exciting. So here we go. And I'm so sorry, I still have not found my little ink cards. Actually, I did find them and I was so excited. And then I put them in a safe place so that when I did this video, I would be able to have them and then show you hold it up and show you my ink and that I used. I completely forgot where I put them. I have no clue where they are. I looked before I started the video. I have no idea, so I apologize, and I swear to you, even if I have to make new ink cards, that I will have them for my next one. All right, so here we go. And one of the things that I do like about this journal, which I mentioned in the A6 video, is that it has a specific page where if you're using this as a bullet journal, you can write down your key, which I think is just, I don't use it that way, but I think it's a great touch. And then it has two index pages. Yeah, two index pages. This is, I believe this is 4mm grid. And as I go through here, I'll tell you how I felt about it. So here is my pen and ink log. From here to here were my April inks, and then here so far has been May inks. Well, up until the 23rd of May, this was my May inks. I have since written many of these dry, and I have refilled a few. So my first day in this journal, which was a new journal kind of day, and I used Ferris Wheel Press buttered popcorn. And as usual, I always like to start, every new day with an inspiring picture. Just gives me something nice to look at. I was kind of trying to get used to the small grid. And so for a few pages, I was like, okay, well, I'll try writing on every other line. So I do that a few times in here, but you'll see. This right here is Kayo no Oto Kokiiro, which I've been using a lot since I got it. I use this in my Rainforest SD, and I just love it. I love this ink, and I love it in my SD. It's fantastic. This ink right here is, I thought so, Sailor Gentile Tokiwa Matsu. And I used this in I already did my April, what I inked for the month of April. So I don't need to go through the pens that I used. But this is Tokiwa Matsu. And I really like it because it has really great shading. And I think, you know, the paper that you're using helps a lot too. This is Noodler's Rome that's here. I like every once in a while, I kind of go back and forth where the first sepia color I ever used was Private Reserve sepia, and I thought no other ink could come close to that sepia. And then my ink started to get very moldy and started to smell bad, and so I threw it away and I had to find a new one. And finding Noodler's Rome was like, it was so nice because I just immediately loved it, and I really enjoy using it in my Sailor Pro Gear Slim a lot. Yep. This is Sierra Mist, Color Nostalgia Sierra Mist. So I mean, it's Tomo River paper. Of course I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every single page that I wrote on. My inks shaded beautifully. I didn't use any shimmer inks because I'm just not a shimmery ink kind of girl. They clog up my pens, no matter if I'm using a broad nib or 1.1 stub. I just really don't like having to stop my writing to prime a pen because it has stopped writing. A little knitting picture. I had started knitting a lot more to kind of relieve stress and anxiety. Knitted pot holders. Yeah, I actually did do this. I knit myself a pair of pot holders too, on top of all the dishcloths I've been knitting. This ink right here was the ink that I mixed up. It was a mixture of Ancient Copper and Ferris Wheel Pressed Buttered Popcorn. I called it my honey blend. And this was the very first ink that I used in my Esterbrook Oktoberfest. More Kokiiro. And as you see in all of my flip through videos, as you will continue to see, primarily it's just writing. This is one of my favorite pictures to use in my journals. I use it all the time. I just really love it. There are many pictures that I print out from Pinterest that I print out and use over and over again. And just because I really enjoy the pictures, I enjoy how they make me feel, you know, they inspire me. Yeah. There's more Tokiwa Matsu, and this was when I inked up my Hongdian in Black Forest with Earl Grey, with a Diamine Earl Grey. Yep. More knitting pictures. Lamy All-Star Petrol with Birmingham Pen Company Boiler Steam. I feel like this is a perfect match for the Petrol Lamy. I don't think I'm going to be keeping my Petrol All-Star just because, I don't know, I just don't like the All-Star as much as I like the Safari. Yeah. But I wanted to use it one last time before I made that choice. Here is just ancient copper that I was using in my Kaveco Brass Sport. And Earl Grey. We were in North Myrtle Beach for the day and went to the beach with my girls, and I found a bookstore, and so I bought a book to read while we were on the beach, paid for parking, and my daughter found a feather, and we kind of like plucked it into the sand standing straight up, and we used that to mark our spot. That was our spot. And this is where I was trying out the writing on every other line again to see if I liked that better than writing on every line. It just took a little bit of getting used to. It took a little bit of getting used to, but I did get used to it. And over time, I found that I actually liked this. I mean, you can't beat this paper. The paper is fantastic. It takes all the inks. It writes amazing. It feels amazing. There were times when my hand was kind of like, I would be holding my pen for so long that my hands would get a little like moist or sweaty. So I would put my little Esterbrook blotter sheet underneath my hand, and I would just use that as I was writing, because you don't want to get hand oils on paper like this, because then as you write over it, it'll make your ink look weird, or maybe your ink won't even go down on the page. So this was when I got the new ink that I put in my Oktoberfest, which was Iroshizuku Fuyugaki, and that is the only ink for that pen now. Love it. Spoilers, I'm on my 6th fill with that pen and ink because I just cannot get enough of it. Never enough of it. Not yet. I'm not tired of it yet. I marked this as an important... Oh! This was the day that we moved into our house that we're in right now. That's right. Yeah. Kingsland, Georgia. That's where we live now. So that was... I like to do that, like use a little washi to mark a page for an important day. Sometimes my handwriting gets really, really messy. This was when the Olive Traveler's Notebook arrived. I picked it up in the shop that I ordered it from, which was Anamoya, where I used to work and where I work now again. I make the drive 3 days a week. It's only an hour away, so it's really not far. And I've been working there again for a month. And it is my happy place, and I really, really enjoy it. This ink right here is Sailor Ink Studio 967, and I used this in my Cross Wanderlust in Borneo. That was when I found, which I already talked about in my previous video, when I found that big ass spider outside on the back porch. Yep. I have been taking a lot of inspiring pictures from Pinterest, flat lays, because I'm trying to do better with my pictures for my YouTube thumbnails and for Instagram. Oh, I was trying to work out where I wanted to put some stuff in the house, and so I drew the house layout. I unpacked some of my stuff and I found some of my stamps. So I decided to stamp a few pages. I only stamped a few pages because, I don't know if you can see, but my ink kind of bled through a bit. Not bled through, but it just shadowed really, really, really shadowy. And I didn't like that, so I only did a couple pages. And I tried a couple different colors. This is a picture that one of my daughters drew me. It is a dragon. And I don't know what it's she drew that for me. And my daughter's art skills are just getting better and better. They're just great artists. Just another inspiring traveler's note. And speaking of, I have mushroom fingernails, and like they're not perfect, but I painted my youngest daughter and I, we did mushroom nails today. So you are treated to the delight of my mushroom nails. You are very welcome. This ink is, what is this ink? Oh, so I don't know where this came from. Could not even begin to tell you, but it was in a box that I was unpacking, and apparently it was important enough to where it made it into this box, and it was like a sticker that went on our old dishwasher, and I don't know why it never made it onto the dishwasher, but it made it in my journal, and why, I don't know, it just did. Okay, that was a sample that I have in my Lamy Vista. I used Visual Press Spruce County Road. And I really thought that, I still have more of this sample left, so maybe I need to use it in a different pen. But the two pens that I've used it in so far, I really didn't love it. I would like this ink so much more if it was more saturated and less kind of misty, I guess. It's like when you first start writing with it, it looks very dark and just really nice, and then as you write more with it, just like with all inks and pens, you know, as you write more with it, it just lightens up. And I just really find that I really don't like it like that. I was using my Jinhao, what my daughter calls cotton candy, with Colorverse Hayabusa, and it's a very happy purple. And this was my fourth fill of Fuyugaki. I have written through this ink so nicely. I've used this ink so much. More Spruce County Post. So as you can see, for a while I've just been writing, you know, on the regular lines. I didn't worry about trying to do every other line because it took me a little while, but I got used to the line spacing, or to the grid spacing. And if you are thinking that the grid spacing may not be for you, well, understand that how this looks on my pages, I use medium, very juicy nibs. There are a few instances where I use, this is one of my favorite pictures I use in my journals a lot too. I have other fine nibs that are less juicy, and I always end up smoothing them to make them more juicy, just because I love writing. I don't want to feel the feedback when I'm writing. I don't want to feel feedback. I just want to glide across the page. And I love that with Tomoe River paper. I can do that because it's so super soft and smooth. I just really enjoyed everything about this notebook. I enjoyed the B6 size. It was really easy and portable. I used it in this cover that I've had for a really long time. I couldn't even tell you. I got it on Etsy a long time ago. I don't remember the name of the maker though, or else I would share it. But I found this when I was unpacking, and I was like, I haven't used this in forever, so I decided to use it. And I'm glad I did. It was fun. It's a fun little cover. So some of my pictures have little quotes on them that I find inspiring too, and this one was about decluttering, because I was, this was a broad nib on my mint Lamy, and this is Diatramentus document green, which, oh gosh, no, it stained, no, it wasn't my mint Lamy, it was my cream Lamy, my cozy cream. It stained the section of my pen, you know, when you put your pen down in the ink and then you suck it up. Well, a little bit got on my section, and it stained my section. I had to use, hold on, I'll show you what I used to get it out. Soft scrub with bleach. This right here, if you are washing your pens out in your sink and your bathroom sink like I do, and sometimes you find that you get staining from your inks, get this guy, put some in the sink, just a little bit goes a long way. And because I don't really care about chemicals, I just smooth it around with my fingers. It gets all of the staining out, and this is what got the staining from the document green ink off of my cozy cream lammy. And for some reason, document green always creeps through my nibs. I don't know why, and I don't like it at all. So I think I will probably be donating that document green ink or giving it to somebody else. This is when I inked up my Scarlet ST in Yamaburo, which I love. I am using it again right now. I've actually got all of my Esterbrooks inked up again right now. This was my Lamy Safari in Umber, and this was a sample that I tried of Ferris Wheel Press Down the Don Valley, and I hate it. Oh, this is like, okay, this is what, it's barely legible, but this ink looks like Easter grass. Ugh, I don't like it at all. I tried to like it, but I just didn't like it at all. Like I tried, oh, here's another little drawing that my middle daughter did for me, Eiley. And we went out to eat at a Chinese restaurant, and I always just kind of put our fortunes in there. I was going through my stationery pouch, and I found these from way back when, and I thought I had run out of them, but I was like, oh no, I have some, so I decided to use them up. This was my Esterbrook SD, my Rainforest, and I used a sample of Ferris Wheel Press Central Park Green just to see if I would like it, because my 16-year-old expressed interest in this ink. And I was like, oh, I'll try it out. Yeah, I will stick with Coquillero in my Rainforest SD. There it was. I tried some more of that horrible ink again. And then as I was writing, it just got to the point where it was completely illegible. And so I was like, no, that's it. I'm done with that ink. And here's that picture again. I told you I use it a lot. I actually just today gave my pen, my A23, a second fill of Peter Moss. So this was when I was kind of going through, at the time I was writing with all green inks, so I swatched them. I have a sample of Warringal Mad Hatter, which my boss Jess has a bottle of, and so I took a sample from her. Twinkling Tea Party, which is a sample as well. Down the Don Valley, which was a sample, which was just a sample. And then I had a sample of Lamley Peridot, which I do not like, and then also a sample of Spruce County Post. And so I was writing with all of those at the same time. This was where I inked up my Ferris Wheel Press brush pen with peppermint drop, and it was okay for a little while. It's not my favorite ink. Not my favorite combination in that pen. I don't think I have found an ink yet that I love in that pen. So, more Fuyugaki. So later on, I really wanted to give Mad Hatter another try, because I felt like, you know, I needed it. Mother's Day, my wonderful, wonderful son, who is 23, came to visit, and he gave me some amazing Mother's Day gifts. 2 pair of powder socks, which are the most luscious, wonderful socks that are out there. They're bamboo. They're just fantastic. I love them. He also, he got all of my gifts at Anamoya, where I work. He and my boss were so sneaky. They did all this while I was in the shop, and I had no idea what was going on. He also got me this A5 Stalogy. And this Antica Pharmacista, this is a room spray, and it's in the scent Tarmac. We sell this in our shop too, and it smells so good. So this is a room spray, and I am not even gonna lie, I've been spraying this on myself. It smells really good. Amazing. Yep. What's that? Yep. So I wrote about the visit he visited with my daughter-in-law and my grandbaby. So we had a good visit with them. I was really happy about that. And he spoiled me for Mother's Day, which was really nice. Oh, I got these little die cuts. These little greenery die cuts from the shop too. We were unpacking orders, and one of the little bottles, or one of the little bags that had these die cuts in it, had come open and they had just gone everywhere. And I was like, oh no, what do we do with these? And we kept the other bags, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll just buy them because I like them and I would use them in my journal. And then Jess was just like, oh, just take them. I was like, okay. This was when I changed my nib from a broad to a fine nib in my mint Lamy, and I decided at that point that I liked wearing gold Mad Hatter. It fits my Lamy, it matches that Lamy really nicely, and I like it in a fine nib. Oh yeah, that's where I wrote it again, because that's what I do. There's so much Fuyugaki in here, but I just love it. I'm really, really, really enjoying that pen and ink combination. This was more of that Central Park green that I didn't like, but I refused to dump it out. This was my Gin House Century in green marble with forest in it from Dominant Industries, this guy right here. And I got to the point where I didn't, like, as I was writing with it, I didn't like it at all. And it felt horrible coming out of my nib. Like, it felt like I was writing on sandpaper, and my nib was so dry, and it was just yuck. So I dumped it out. I mean, and that's how I felt after just writing that much. I could not stand it. So I filled it with KWZ Discovery Green, and then all of a sudden it was writing nicely and smooth again. What do you know? It felt so much better. And more Peter Moss, which is one of my favorite inks as well. Almost done, guys. Traveler's Notebook pictures, just because I love those too. It makes me happy seeing pictures of other people enjoying their traveler's notebooks, and you know, their amazing pictures that they do. It gives me inspiration. And when I flip through my journals, it gives me something nice and pretty to look at, so I don't have to do huge collages on my paper to get that same feeling of creativity. Even though it's putting somebody else's creativity down on my page, it still makes me feel good. My little daughter doodled on my page while we were at the table. Just using, this was KWZ Discovery Green. And I wanted to use this pen again so I could decide if I really wanted to keep it. And I have decided that I really don't want to keep this pen. So I'm going to be selling it, and it's going to go off to a new home, and someone is going to, it writes really well. It's a great pen. It's just doesn't bring me joy anymore. I use this picture a lot too. And that was it. This was my little ink squiggles page when I'm working a new ink through the nib and it's not coming out right, I come back here and just like rah on the page. And this is where my daughter wrote Corgzilla because that's what she goes by. She loves corgis. So all in all, this was a fantastic notebook to journal through. If you are on the fence about Wonderland 222, I encourage you to jump off of that fence. Get one in all the sizes. I mean, gosh, they're just fantastic journals. I really enjoyed the A6 and I super enjoyed this one too. And I hope you have enjoyed sitting here with me while going through my boring journal with you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all of your support, and I wish you awesomeness and greatness, and I will see you in my next video.